Welcome back to Butterfly Effect Tarot. My name is Lorraine, and today's topic is how would those who know you describe you to others? There are going to be 3 piles, and the timestamps for each pile will be in the description box below, as well as the comment section. If the messages resonate, please feel free to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments if you choose. To my subscribers and returning viewers, thank you. You know how much I adore you. To newer viewers, welcome. If you're interested after watching this video, you can return to the channel. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. And I also want to let you guys know that even if this is not truly the energy that you embody, this is essentially how those that we're tapping into, this is how they would describe you to others, or how they have or will or are describing you to others. So do take note of that as well. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into each one of your messages. Welcome to your reading, pile 1, regarding how would those who know you describe you to others. So I've already pre-shuffled and pulled 5 cards. We're going to identify those cards and then we'll get into your message. So the first card out is the 6 of Swords, followed by the 9 of Swords. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, followed by the Ace of Pentacles. And the final card out is the 9 of Wands. Bottom of the deck energy is the 4 of Wands. So really quickly, doesn't matter if you're male or female, masculine or feminine, the energy and messages should apply no matter what. For this group, you are coming through based on these cards as somebody who is being viewed and would more than likely be described in the energy of somebody who's like a high-valued woman, high-valued man. When you have the Queen of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles coming out here at the center of the read, this is the energy of somebody who's usually very hardworking, very focused on business, on career, but also somebody who's very focused on others, right? This is a generous energy. So for a lot of you, if not all of you, you could be caretakers. So you could, be parents, or you could maybe take care of your own parents, or there are others that rely on you. And you would be described as someone who is very patient, very honest, very trustworthy, very loving, very attentive. Like you're a great caretaker and also a provider, especially with the Queen of Pentacles. This is usually a working parent. This is usually the energy of somebody who is very independent and successful at taking care of themselves and other people. Very charitable. People would view you as somebody who is maybe a little bit reserved and conservative. You could be a little bit choosy about the people that you deal with or the people that you allow to get close to you, especially with the 9 of Wands being at the end of the deck. You could be somebody being viewed that you set strong boundaries when it comes to your energy. There also may be something about your style and your appearance. I feel like with the Queen of Pentacles, this is a high valued energy as mentioned. So this is somebody who enjoys the finer things in life. So you would be described as somebody who perhaps has a certain style or way you dress that really accentuates your body, the way you wear your clothes, even if they're not name brand or high end clothes, you make them look high end. And it's because of your energy. Your energy gives very much a boss, very much a leader, very much somebody who has money. Even if you don't, this is how people are viewing you. I do feel like they view you and would essentially describe you as very responsible, very resourceful, very dependable. They would view you as somebody who maybe even smells very nicely, because again, with the Queen of Pentacles, it's about, it always gives me earth energy and the Taurian energy, which is linked to Venusian. So very beautiful people. You could have a very beautiful, soft voice, or even an assertive or stern voice, but it's still very soft and smooth. I do feel like you have a very gently commanding presence, a gently commanding tone, and even the way that you walk and the way that you carry yourself. It's a beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy. And I'm also kind of feeling like this with the Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles coming out after the 6 of Swords and 9 of Swords. You kind of make things look easy, right? With the 6 of Swords, this is an energy of smooth sailing, right? This is an energy of letting go of struggle, walking away from struggle and stress and putting it behind you. And then it comes out with the 9 of Swords, which the 9 of Swords is the energy of stress, anxiety, worries, conflicts, anxiety. So people are seeing that you kind of maybe somebody who does things on your own, like you take care of all your business, your responsibilities, other people, yourself by yourself. And it typically would be something that would be very stressful for other people. But with the 6 of Swords, you make it look effortless. People may wonder how you make it work. People may wonder, how are you able to show up in such an energy? How are you able to be, attentive, nurturing, loving, but also a provider, also taking care of yourself, always looking well put together? The people you take care of are taken care of and well put together. Your bills are paid, or you make it. There's, again, even if there's some sort of struggle with this Nine of Swords energy regarding your finances or your circumstances, somehow it's almost like you smooth through it, or you don't complain. Or some people may feel like you do not experience stress and anxiety and worries. Some people may feel like you have it all put together, or that you have more than enough of everything, that you have all that you need and you don't have to worry and stress, with the Six of Swords and Nine of Swords coming out. So again, it's going to depend on your situation and also the people that we're tapping into. But they are seeing you as somebody who basically can turn nothing into something, right? Because it's like with the Nine of Swords, this is maybe, again, an example of maybe stressing about money or responsibilities or having too much on your plate. And then it goes into the Ace of Pentacles and then the Nine of Wands, an energy of all of a sudden, maybe there's a miracle that comes in, like a windfall of money out of nowhere. Or you lose a job and then you start a new one that has better pay and a higher position, better work situation. Or, for example, you may have to move out of your home and stay with someone temporarily, but then all of a sudden when they see you again, you've now purchased your own home or moved into a nicer, newer apartment than the one you had before. There's just an energy here of you constantly glowing up. It's like no matter what you go through, you have a way of getting over it. You have a way of evolving. You have a way of rebalancing yourself and your situation and circumstances. And with the Nine of Wands, you become stronger and more resilient because of it. I do also feel like you'd be described as somebody who's very guarded and protective over the things and people that you love. So maybe you're obviously, if you have, children, or if you have, those around you, again, that you're close to, you could be very protective and defensive over them, very protective and guarded over your own energy. But I also feel like for this group, for some of you, if not all of you, you could be viewed as somebody who's very let's say, meticulous about your things, your items, your material things, like the things you've acquired, especially when it comes to like your home environment with the Four of Wands at the bottom. This is an energy of like a happy home that has peace, excitement, fun, joy, balance, harmony, and I feel like, again, with the Nine of Wands at the end, you are very protective over your space. You're protective over your environment. Wherever you dwell, you're very cautious and you're very guarded when it comes to who you allow in, or who you allow to get close to you, the people you love, or the things that you have acquired. The Four of Wands is also the energy of accolades, achievements, and being celebrated, specifically socially through your community for your achievements, for your success in business and career. So you'd be described as somebody who's accomplished. Maybe you're a college graduate. Maybe you're a business owner who has worked their way up from the bottom to the top, especially with the Queen of Pentacles coming out with the Ace of Pentacles, but there's something here about you being very accomplished despite your circumstances. There's something here about you being somebody who, again, you kind of make the struggles, right? Because maybe some of you do have struggles. You make struggles and overcoming those struggles and setbacks, you make it look seamless, and people don't know how you do it. People, especially for those of you that are in maybe a difficult situation, or you have been in the past and you've overcome it, or you are overcoming or working through it, you make very good use of your resources. As I mentioned earlier, very resourceful. You make a way to get what you want. This is kind of giving the energy of somebody who, even if you don't have a lot of money, you may ball on a budget. That's why I say, even if you're somebody where you're like, well, I don't have a lot of money, I'm not a Queen of Pentacles, or you don't view yourself this way, the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you take care of those around you, the way you take care of yourself, the things that you acquire despite your situation, it gives the appearance as somebody who is very financially abundant, somebody who is very successful, somebody who is very stable. So again, very high valued, very accomplished. I do feel like for this group also, you'd be described as maybe somebody who could be a bit sensual, again, in the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you speak. There may be an air of seductiveness about you with the Wands energy out here, coupled with this Queen of Pentacles. But again, very demure, very conservative. Your energy is again, as I stated, a bit kind of guarded, and pulled back. I feel like for this energy, you are more of an observer. So if you're in a party or a gathering with family or friends, perhaps you're somebody who can be a bit more in the background, or you're somebody who may be amongst everyone else in the conversations or in the group, but you're the person in the group who's more watching. You're more analytical. You like to kind of take in more than you give out. As I stated earlier, you may not share a whole lot about your, situations, your life, your personal business. And that could be why some people view you as somebody who doesn't experience stress or struggle. And those that do see you that way, or know about the stress and struggle you've experienced, they view you as somebody who seamlessly pushes through that, and you become even better and stronger than before. Your finances become better and stronger, your circumstances, you as a person. I feel like you are somebody who's constantly evolving, because the Queen of Pentacles is about growth and expansions and abundance. And this is somebody, as I stated earlier, who likes to show up in the best version of themselves. So always evolving, especially with this Ace of Pentacles. You're somebody who may create your own opportunities where there are none that are being created for you. You make a way. So the energies we're tapping into, they view you in a high light. Very prosperous, very much somebody who is nurturing and loving, very hospitable. There's a lot of a positive energy around the way you show hospitality to others. They view you as very sharp, very, very wise and smart. Yeah, a very mature person. You have the energy of safety. Like, you create a safe space. Again, somebody who people can come to for a shoulder to cry on, even for money, I feel like, to some degree. But I also feel like with your energy, people would describe you as someone who doesn't invest your time, energy, and resources into just anyone. As I stated earlier, you are cautious about the people that you engage with. And this is how people would describe you, as very much a great judge of character. As I stated earlier, you have great taste. And I feel like that does cross over into your judgment of the energies and people around you, or the people that you come across. And I feel like usually you're spot on. And for some of you, you've overcome a lot. With this Nine of Swords coming out, and then the Nine of Wands coming out after the Queen of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles, I feel like you've been through a lot. For those of you where others are aware of the stress, the anxiety, or the struggles that you have endured, they see you as somebody who you push through very quickly. Mind you, the Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles is slower moving energy. But Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands, and Wands and Swords is faster moving energy. And then the Six of Swords is out here as well. So again, you move through, difficulties. You move through roadblocks or over roadblocks in a very smooth way. And you do it in a way where you're sustained with this slower moving Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles energy. So yeah, they view you in a very beautiful light. Whomever these energies are, they describe you as somebody who's like a great friend, a great support system. Yeah, you could be very creative as well, but extremely confident. Your energy comes across as very confident, very independent. Somebody who will do it on their own if they have to, and they do it well. Yeah, I like the energy here. But I'm going to leave your reading there. And of course, if it resonated, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if interested, you may return to the channel after this. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. But other than that, you have yourself a great day. Welcome to your reading pile 2, regarding how would those who know you describe you to others. So I've already pre-shuffled. I generally do prefer to pull 5 cards, but 6 cards came out. So I'm going to identify the cards that came through, and then we'll get into your message. The first card out is the Knight of Pentacles, followed by the Fool card. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, followed by the Queen of Cups. And then we have the Page of Swords, followed by the Seven of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck energy is the King of Cups. So really quickly, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, masculine or feminine. The energy and messages should apply no matter what. Obviously, for this specific reading, my masculine's drawn to this. Your energy would be associated with this King of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And of course, my feminine energies, your energy would be associated with the Queen of Cups out here in the reading as well. So for this group, there's a number of things coming through here in reference to how you'd be described to others by those who know you. So first and foremost, your energy comes through as very calm, very unbothered. There's a strong energy here of somebody who's very patient and very soft spoken. You lead from a heart space. You could be maybe perhaps very spiritual, or people view you as somebody who may have some sort of a psychic insight or somebody who has a sixth sense. um, in a sense, like maybe you meet people and you can maybe read them very quickly, very soon, very early on, and you're usually spot on once you get to know them. But there's definitely an energy here of you being somebody that is kind and generous, especially with the Six of Pentacles coming out with the Queen of Cups and then the King of Cups at the bottom. Very generous. This is about philanthropy. This is about charity. This is about giving to those that are less fortunate. It's also an energy of receiving. So I do feel like for you, they would describe you as very fair, somebody that believes in giving as much as you receive. Some of you may even give and not receive in return, because the Seven of Pentacles is at the end, and that's about putting something out, investing your time and energy and resources into something or someone, but waiting for the results or the fruits of your labor or your receptive energy to come in. But I feel like for this group, you'd be described as somebody that gives without expecting anything. There's no agenda to your kindness. There's a safe, warm energy here, somebody who is dependable and trustworthy. I feel like people feel like they can come to you and speak with you about their deepest, darkest secrets and fears and trauma and hurt, and know that it's not going anywhere. And in addition to that, you will have a kind word for them. You will have some great advice. There's a healing energy here. The King of Cups, the Queen of Cups, this is a healing energy. These are people, as I stated earlier, who create a safe haven or a safe space for people to come into and feel loved and warmed and at ease and at peace enough to open up, right? Because the King and Queen of Cups, they give love and they open their hearts to receive it. But I feel like for this group, it would be also noted in describing you that with this Page of Swords also coming out, as kind as you are, as receptive and open-minded and loving as you are to others in general, your kindness is not to be taken for weakness, because the Page of Swords denotes that you are somebody who essentially will cut people down, right? In terms verbally, like you will tell people how you feel. You could be very assertive, and you could also have very strong boundaries. It'll be an energy of letting them know this is a kind individual, but you don't want to cross them, because as kind and loving as they are, it's just as fierce, assertive, and intense as they can become if you cross those boundaries, if you try to take their kindness for weakness. So that would definitely be noted. I do feel like with this Knight of Pentacles and Fool card coming out at the beginning, you kind of take decisive action. You could be very calculated, very disciplined, hardworking, but especially you're somebody who trusts in the universe. You trust in God. You trust in, whatever higher power you believe in. You're somebody that is very optimistic and positive, and you share and feed this type of energy out into the world and into others. You're somebody who is encouraging and inspiring to others. People view you as an inspiration, and this is how they would describe you. Somebody that is kind of goes with the flow. There's a pure and innocent energy about your aura, like very pure in your intentions, pure in your approach. There's a harmlessness here. Like you have no ill intentions towards anyone. And this is the way you live, the way you speak, the way you show up. And evidently, this is how the people we're tapping into view you, whether they tell you this or not. Because as I stated earlier, you may give out this beautiful energy but not receive it in return, and you're fine with that. But even with this Page of Swords going into the Seven of Pentacles, this could denote that maybe you are a person who would cut ties with people who don't match this energy. So in other words, people that you give to and then they try to take advantage of you, or they betray you. With the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles, you are somebody that will cut out anyone that is not in that Six of Pentacles energy with you, somebody that's not utilizing the kindness and the resources that you offer to them. Or if they come into this warmth, then you open up this space for them to come in and have access to your healing nature, and they kind of show their true colors with that Page of Swords, they're gone. You waste no time in ridding that connection or that situation, or anything for that matter that doesn't align with you. Now, for some of you, you could be married or in a connection with the King and Queen of Cups out here. If that resonates for those that are in a marriage or a relationship, those that know you would describe this relationship to others as a beautiful, harmonious connection to people that are both kind and generous and loving, and that are out to help other people. This could be, an energy for those of you who are single, where people feel like either you're waiting for the right person to come along that matches your energy, that will be in a Six of Pentacles with you and give as much as they receive, or These people would, in the description of you, they would denote that they are waiting for you to receive this beautiful partner who matches your energy, who will give to you as much as you give to them. But essentially, there is definitely an energy here of you being very free spirited, very free flowing, very much in an energy of balance and harmony, very responsible and mature, very as I stated, there's a perseverance here because the Knight of Pentacles starts out at the beginning and then the Seven of Pentacles is at the end. That's an energy of perseverance. That's an energy of somebody putting in time, work, and effort and then patiently waiting for the results to come in. So if this is related to career and money, I do feel like for this group, maybe people view you where if you fall on hard times, you are somebody who will take the necessary actions or you'll plant a seed and wait for things to come to you. I'm getting an energy of manifestation because the King and Queen of Cups are usually spiritually inclined and they're more of a receptive energy. And that's usually an energy of manifestation. But the Pentacles coming out, this also denotes that you are somebody who puts in action and energy, but you take your time. The calm, patient, demure aspect of who you are is also applied to your career and your money and your stability and your structure, your livelihood. So when it comes to careers, I feel like for some of you, you could, either be in school or planning to go back to school, and this would be described, or you could potentially be someone who is starting a business or a creative endeavor. And maybe people are watching you grow this and you're very patient with this and you're learning as you go, but staying very stern and structured and with the Fool card, trusting that things are going to work out eventually, but very much being focused and passionate about what you're building. So, and as I mentioned earlier, if I haven't, with this healing energy, some of you could be therapists, psychologists, as I stated, you could be coaches. It's just an energy here of somebody who desires to heal the world or help heal those within the world that have lost balance, that are in need. And I feel like even without you speaking, your energy provides this healing nature and comfort for other people. And this is how those that we're tapping into would describe you. Innocent in your approach, innocent in how and pure in how you address others, how you view others. You may be somebody that likes to look for the good in others, or you see the good in others despite how they show up. Still, with the Page of Swords, you will still keep a distance from these people, but you can still see to the core of who they are. Like I said earlier, with the sixth sense, with the spirituality, this intuitive nature, you see people for who they are. You see them clearly, whether you say it or not, you see them clearly, and you still show up with respect. Even you may respect people and have a certain level of decorum, if you will, for people who don't deserve it, right? Because there's a compassionate energy here. Very much somebody who's respectful of other people's energy and space because that's what you desire in return. So you're somebody that gives exactly what you desire to receive. You show up as the change that you perhaps want to see in the world. And this is how your energy comes through. And I feel like people would describe you in so many words this way. You could be very family orientated. Some of you could be parents already, and then you would be described as the ideal parent. Very warm, loving, nurturing, kind, patient as a parent. You could be viewed as somebody who is, if, as I stated, if you're in a connection already, as the ideal partner who shows up and is reciprocal with their partner and make sure that the home you're creating together is in alignment with the beautiful energy that you two embody on your own and as a couple. But there's definitely a beautiful, unbothered, calm, demure type of energy coming through. It feels so loving and so safe. I don't know, it's safety. You just make people feel safe. Your energy feels very harmless. Like you wouldn't hurt anyone, at least not intentionally. You wish the best for everyone. And people may feel that you deserve, as I stated already, that you deserve this same love, nurturing, safety, generous energy in return. But it's very soft. Your energy is very soft. There's an energy of assertiveness. Don't get me wrong, because Pentacles energy can be assertive and very grounded and stubborn in a disciplined and determined way. And you would be described this way, very determined to succeed, very determined to build what you desire, very determined and focused when you're pursuing something. But again, there's still this soft, loving nature is still present. The Page of Swords, as I stated, still assertive, but still loving. Yeah, a beautiful balance of mental and emotional energy. And I feel like you teach this to others or you lead by example by showing up in this energy yourself. And if people haven't told you this, because maybe they haven't, this is what's coming through, at least based off of the people we're tapping into. So whether they're telling you or not, this may be how they could be describing you to other people in so many words, you know? And I love that for you. But I am going to leave your reading there. And of course, if it resonated, please feel free to like and subscribe. And you can let me know in the comments if you choose. And if interested, you may return to my channel. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. But other than that, thank you for clicking on this video today. Welcome to your reading pile 3 regarding how would those who know you describe you to others. So I've already pre-shuffled and pulled 5 cards. I'm going to identify the 5 cards that came through, and then we will get into your message. So the first card out is the Ace of Swords, followed by the Ten of Pentacles. And then we have the Hermit, followed by the Ace of Wands. And then the final card out is the Death card. Bottom of the deck energy is the King of Swords. So really quickly, doesn't matter if you're male or female, feminine or masculine, the energy and messages should apply no matter what. For your group, you would be described as somebody who is fierce, very assertive. You may be somebody with strong boundaries. You could be somebody that's a bit of a loner or introvert, or you prefer to be to yourself or keep a very small group of people around you. You may be described as somebody who doesn't trust others easily or at all. Definitely somebody, though, that is very determined and ambitious. With the Ace of Swords going into the Ten of Pentacles, people view you as somebody who has a clear vision of what you want for yourself and somebody who is willing to take quick action and put in the work and effort to bring what they desire to fruition. In this case, that would be the Ten of Pentacles in Empire. So you could be somebody that wants to or are building a business. Maybe you are pursuing to purchase your own home. Essentially, for some of you, this could mean people view you as somebody who's determined to have it all. A beautiful, genuine, loving connection and marriage, a relationship, having, wealth and abundance, a happy career, a happy home life, a happy family life. And people view you as somebody who is willing to create your legacy, for example, on your own while waiting for a partner, or for some of you, you would prefer to have a partner as you do this. But either way, there's a strong, powerful, and authoritative energy to you, and it's coming through as how you would be described. But very honest, somebody very loyal, somebody very trusting and fair, definitely somebody who's diplomatic, but I don't feel like you're somebody who bites their tongue. I feel like you're somebody who is very truthful and honest, but maybe even for some of you, you could be viewed as brutally honest. You don't mince words. What you say is what you mean, and what you mean is what you say. You say what you mean what you say, and that's that on that. And you stand on business. You stand your ground. With the Ace of Swords and Ace of Wands, Swords energy is communication. It's mental energy. It's verbal energy. The Wands energy is fiery energy. It's action. It's movement. So people feel like you walk it like you talk it is the best way to put it. You say what you're going to do. You know what you want to do. You see the vision, you speak the vision. And with the Ace of Wands, you actually take action. You're not somebody who they view as that's stuck in their head for too long, or who's going to be stuck in their head and never actually set out to achieve what they want. They see you talk about something and then they see you in the midst of doing it, or somehow they're aware. Because I do feel like for this group, you could be extremely private with the Hermit card and then the King of Swords energy. King of Sword archetype is somebody who is very reserved, very closed off. You could be a bit intimidating, and people may describe you that way. But I feel like with this energy, you are somebody who moves in silence. You're private about your finances. You're private about your relationships. You're private about your own personal growth, about what you go through. Some of these people may know that you've been through some stuff, because we do have the Hermit card out here denoting that you're somebody that spends a lot of time alone. And usually with the Hermit, that's somebody that's healing and transforming, finding themselves and seeking out what they want to do next. And then the Death card is about transformation. It's about leaving behind the old connections, old relationships, old way of being, and embarking on something completely new and transformed. and them seeing you in your power and authority, the person who does not seek validation, the person who does not need approval from others. You basically walk to the beat of your own drum. You know what you want and you don't let anyone sway you. Very unwavering. But I do feel like for this group, you could have went through some glow ups, right? So the way that you look could have changed, because the death card, usually um when I'm seeing that with the hermit, I feel like you changed internally and it became a reflection of your external environment, because and that includes your external appearance. So when you look at the hermit card, this is somebody that goes within. Then the ace of wands, this is an action of being out. It's extroverted. It's coming out of your shell and taking action. And then the death card, this could be an action of you now finding yourself, healing, and then cutting out bad habits, people, things, situation, jobs, whatever that don't serve you, and then you move on quickly. But I feel like as you've changed on the inside, for a lot of you, it has changed your appearance. I feel like some of you, like, you could be very sexy, right? With the wands, ace of wands here, some of these people could just note that you are very seductive and sultry, that you're very intense. Like this group, you could be described as very intense, very passionate, very driven, very hardworking, somebody again who is a force to be reckoned with. Like there's a energy here where you may be described as somebody that is no nonsense. You do not play. Like if somebody crosses you, you have no problem with telling them about themselves. You will fight physically if you have to, and you will cut that connection off and keep it moving. Very unbothered. I don't feel like this is a group of people who are triggered easy, or moved easy. But when you do get upset, when something does anger you, yeah, you're a force. Like you, like verbally and physically. You're not somebody that's all talk. That's what I'm getting. And like, this even references to your career and your life's goals. You're not all talk. You actually put in the work in action. Your words align with your actions. People see that. People may not be able to know what you're doing behind the scenes when you're healing or when you're working on things. I feel like you're somebody who keeps things to yourself, and people may just see the final result. But as far as the actual process of transforming, the process of building, the process of accumulating, people can't see that, right? They can just see the end result. They see you in your power. They see you more attractive than before. They see you even more, glowing, even more sexy, even more intense, even more passionate, even more driven, even more successful. But they didn't see how it happened. But they know that there was some sort of transformation. But the Hermit card, it's hidden. It's just you. Definitively. Now, for some of you, you could have acquired an inheritance with this Ten of Pentacles, and people would maybe mention that, like maybe you acquire some inheritance, like a home or property or land, a business or money. And essentially when you acquired that money, maybe this allowed you to take time to yourself to transform and work on yourself, because then you didn't have to work a 9 to 5. And then once you came out of that hermit energy, you were in this ace of wands, again, sexy, passionate, fiery, lit up, and taking action to race towards your goals and clean your life up and restructure. But they do see you as somebody that's very structured, very focused. Like you're not somebody that is easily distracted by other people. You're not somebody that's following a trend or overly concerned about what people's opinions are, because your opinion is the only one that matters to you for the most part. But you're not somebody that's easy to get close to. And I feel like people would describe you this way. You're extremely cautious with your energy. You're cautious with your time. You're cautious with your resources. You're just a very cautious and kind of detached energy based off of these cards. Now, this may not be true, but this is how people that know you, at least the people we're tapping into, this is how they would describe you, as closed off. You keep people at a distance, and even the ones that you let in that are allowed to be close to you, even then there's still always some level of caution or guardedness that you approach them with. Maybe you're somebody that believes that anyone's capable of anything, anyone's capable of betraying you, for example. And I feel like you've been betrayed in the past, because when you're the king of swords archetype, queen of swords archetype, you've been through it. And that's why your sword is so high. That's why you're so assertive. That's why you cut things off very quickly, because you've had to go through a lot to heal and transform. Obviously, with this hermit and death card out here, that once you stepped into your power and you set your boundaries and things are going well, you don't want anyone else coming in to deader that. So yes, people would see you as somebody who is very cautious with your energy. You do not allow people to get too close. You don't speak, you're not somebody that's going to tell all your business. People may not know a whole lot about you. And even what they do know, they may only know certain elements of it. People may never know the full truth about you. So you could be very mysterious and alluring and very magnetic, and people could say you're very mysterious, that you're very, somebody that moves in silence, somebody that keeps their cards close to their chest. But you may not be viewed as overly emotional. Maybe you're a thinker. Maybe people observe that you think a lot with this Ace of Swords, King of Swords. Maybe you look like you're in your head a lot. You could be somebody that's reading a lot. You could be somebody that perhaps for some of you, you're in a career where you're building a business or a creative endeavor that, or you're in a business or creative endeavor that are tied to the legal field or teaching and learning or even healing to some degree. Politics, something to do with healing or teaching or communications. You could be an author, but there's definitely an element here where whatever you're doing and however you show up in the world just on a day-to-day basis is somebody that is empowered, somebody that is confident, somebody that knows themselves. No one can tell you about you. You know yourself, you're self-aware, and you're honest with yourself about things about yourself that needs to change, especially with this Hermit card, Death card, and the King of Swords and the Ace of Swords. You have clarity. You see through the BS and you will call it out and you will cut it out of your life, out of your energy. And for some of you, you've already done it with the Death card at the end. So maybe some of these people may describe you as somebody that they used to know. Because maybe when you came out of this hermit mode and stepped into this fiery, assertive energy of the Ace of Wands, some of these people are people that had to get the Ace of Swords. And that with that King of Swords energy, they had to be cut out, they had to be let go. So they're describing you as how they remembered you in that moment, as the last time they've known you. Otherwise, these are people that have watched you transform throughout your life. They've watched your life transform. They watched you evolve. You could have been maybe a more demure, passive energy before for some of you. Now you're empowered and you're assertive and you're direct and you're intense and you're no nonsense, Whereas maybe in the past you may have been different from this, or maybe if you were this way in the past, this energy and these boundaries have gotten stronger and more intense. But I feel like this is a group who goes through glow ups. You go away for a while, when people see you again, something about you has changed, whether it's spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, career wise. Something about you I feel like, is constantly changing. And people would describe this. They would describe, this person is different. With the Death card, this person is different from who they used to be or how I remember them. Yeah, I like this energy. I do. But there could be an element of patience to you. With the Ten of Pentacles and the Hermit card, I feel like you are assertive and direct and very swift and fast moving when you have made up your mind. But I feel like there is a certain level of patience to you. So even though I think your voice or your tone or your approach may give assertive. I was going to say aggressive, but I feel like more assertive. It could be a little aggressive, depending on who you ask. And it could give, stern, no nonsense, strict type of energy, very stoic. But I feel like your aura, there's an element to your aura though that is a bit patient and reserved and kind of pulled back and calm. It could be again a balance here. Yeah, yeah, you are a force. Yeah, there's that. You could be very optimistic, but I do feel like this is a very spiritual group, very spiritual. And maybe people they're not fully aware of just how spiritually inclined you are. Maybe they're not aware that the transformations they've seen or the change and the upgrades or glow ups they've seen you have are linked to the spiritual work you're doing behind the scenes. All they know is you're in this hermit energy where nobody has access to you or nobody has access to what you have going on behind the scenes. Yeah, but I like this. Yeah, very successful. I like this. But yeah, this is how people would describe you. Somebody that overcomes obstacles, somebody very determined, somebody very clear, courageous, and bold. And I love that for you. I do. But I am going to leave the reading there, and of course, if it resonated on any level, please feel free to like and subscribe, and if interested, you may return to the channel. There are other topics, videos, and readings there as well. But other than that, thank you for clicking on this video today.